Let's get into the nitty-gritties of our feature match for this week. That's Lusaka DYNAMOS, who are hosting Kabwe Warriors. So massive battles at the bottom and at the top. Of course, Lusaka DYNAMOS came in with a big resume this year, and well, they'll be disappointed that they are not fighting at the top of the table on how the Super League will be decided. But a lot of pride to be played for. But for Kabwe Warriors, they wanted to avoid the dreaded drop. So let's look at the two selections that were made by the two coaches in this game. So both coaches went for an identical formation. Wow, Kabwe Warriors, of course, were in the orange on your screen. They went 4-1-4-1. The midfield 4-4-1-1 rather. The midfield four of number 10, Jacob Piri, Silion Jere, Patrick KASUNGA, and Manyongo there, Jonathan, were playing in midfield. And in central defense, of course, they went for, tried and tested, Tandimwape and MONGA Chilimba. For Lusaka DYNAMOS, they went with a trusted back four of Ochaya shirt number 23, number 5, Eric Mbulu Ngoi, Emily Patience Kamba number 13, and Paul Banda. In the wide areas, they had Aubrey Fungan, Mwansa, and so forth. Whilst leading the line was, a menace to many defenses, Kope Chris MUGALU, wearing shirt number 9 there. So let's get into the tactical details of this game, starting with Lusaka DYNAMOS in attack, the home side. Of course, Patrick Piri wanted to get a massive 3 points out of his opponent on the day. So here's what was happening in essence. Lusaka DYNAMOS in red were trying to play out from the back, but you've got number 3 there in orange, Seka. Of course, that is harassing the back line when they are trying to play out. And Silion Jere is just scheming just behind him. But the biggest battle in this game and the biggest bottleneck to Lusaka DYNAMOS struggling to play out, Dennis, was that duo in the center of the pitch. Marvin Jere, who was supposed to be the link. When Sidney Kalume gets the ball, Marvin Jere is supposed to get it into, Sidney Kalume is supposed to get it into the number 31, Marvin Jere, but ironically being marked very tightly so, being man-marked in central midfield by Patrick KASUNGA. Now, we said that becomes very important because you want to look at the wide areas and where they are positioned. Number 77, Aubrey Funga. Number 20, once and so forth. And it's 1v1 there. And you've got Emmanuel Habasimbi there in the hole. And Kope MUGALU versus two tough, tackling, old-fashioned central defenders.
Yeah, I think Animo did a very good job. I watched the way he was man-marking Marvin because he knew Marvin is the most influential player for Lusaka DYNAMOS, especially in the midfield. He's the one who creates, he's the one who is the more creative in the Lusaka DYNAMOS setup. So I'm sure Coach Elijah did his homework and assigned Animo to just to be with the Marvin, not to give him any room. Because you give him space, he's going to create, and you'll be in problems.
Now, right there, Vespa, $1 million question. You have your white players going a little bit too high, but Emmanuel Abasimbi is already in an advanced position, or 3 of the attackers, their winger plus their number 10 is in that advanced position. What is your assessment of their game plan in that respect?
Yeah, you could see the way they were trying to organize themselves, especially from the midfield where Sidin Kalume, when he's coming into attack, you can see that he's trying to push his strikers near the goal, so that at least maybe they can try to get an early goal. Most of the games I've watched, Lusaka DYNAMOS, they want to score in the early stage of the game. They just start the game 3-2 minutes. You would see them even shooting on goal. But their organization, if you see from the defense, sometimes they take long to move with the midfielders. Sometimes you find that they leave some gaps whereby when there's a breakdown, you could see Kabwe Warriors playing most of their games in the midfield. Silon, who is Silon Jere, who is a senior man in the team for Kabwe Warriors. And if you've seen Zite of late, the way Kabwe Warriors are playing in the midfield, I think they are organized, which made the Lusaka DYNAMOS, I think most of their balls, they were trying to correct them from the center circle. And I think it was not easy for them, in fact, even to get closer the 18 yards.
Yeah, so probably serious challenges with Lusaka DYNAMOS trying to link up play between the lines and probably get the team into advanced attacking positions. But let's further do a deeper postmortem of Lusaka DYNAMOS in attack in this game that they needed to win for more reasons than one. But for Kabwe Warriors, of course, they're coming to Lusaka with a serious assignment. Now, right there, Dennis, is Kabwe Warriors, who have the number 10, Jacob Piri, man marking Paul Banda, and then you've got Nseka, who's making Erika Bulungoy and Patience Kamba not too comfortable on the ball. You've got Jonathan Manongo, who's closing the line of path to Ochaya, the number 23, and you've got Silion Jera, who's closing the line of pass for a direct ball into Emmanuel Habasimbi. Right there, I'm just thinking, those Lusaka DYNAMOS players could probably know that we are having problems playing out, because look at the number of players that Warriors have in the Lusaka DYNAMOS half. Almost 5, almost 6. And then you've got players that are not forming those line of pass, Dennis. And then, yes, the rest is history.
Yeah, I think Kabwe Warriors did the high press, and they did well. They closed the Ochaya, they closed the Banda, Peter Banda. They closed
Paul
Banda. Yeah, and the other thing, I think Lusaka DYNAMOS, especially the wing midfielders, that was Aubrey and
so forth.
I think they had pressure from losing from Nakonde. They wanted to get an early goal, meaning they had to push. They went further up instead of going with the movement of the ball, but they went up before getting the ball, which made it very difficult for Lusaka DYNAMOS to play, especially in the midfield. If you saw Kabwe Warriors, I think they controlled the midfield, especially most of the first half. It was all Kabwe Warriors in the midfield. I think if Lusaka DYNAMOS had possession in the midfield, it was a few touches. And it was a few times that I saw Ochaya getting to the byline and bringing in those crosses that we know of him, the ones which makes MUGALU tick. I didn't see much of those. Paul Banda as well, it was closed. I think this game, Kabwe Warriors was very, very prepared for Lusaka DYNAMOS.
So I'm just thinking, if you're watching that game, and never mind who's occupying which position, you might think that Kabwe Warriors were the team in 5th place, and Lusaka DYNAMOS were the team that was fighting for dear life. How did that happen, Vespa?
Yeah, Zite, you could see it. You remember, if you remember, last time I talked about Chikwanda joining Kabwe Warriors. I think I said Warriors will see a different Warriors, but as the league goes on. Because if you see the way they played, you would think maybe it's a team which is preparing also to maybe participate in a continental Zite.
Well,
I think
on that tip, yes.
Yeah, talking about the way that Warriors performed and Lusaka DYNAMOS, I think the game is all about who wants it more. Warriors really looked like they wanted something out of that game. Just the way they applied themselves, the attitude, the approach to the game, you could see. I think they missed the first chance. I think it was in the second minute or third minute, which showed that the Warriors were trying to achieve something out of that game.
All right, so let's have a look at Chris MUGALU and the impression that he had on this game, because yes, he's a player that is devastated, is very devastative and very potent in the air. Now, if you look at that touch map, ladies and gentlemen, first half, those are the conventional balls. The strike balls are his touch map in the second half, but he had to go too wide, too many times, just to try to link up play. And because of his efforts, the silver lining is that Lusaka DYNAMOS managed to get in 11 crosses in this game, but Chris MUGALU was never in a position to benefit from the crosses that he was helping the team create, Vespa.
Yeah, Zite, most of the games, if you've watched MUGALU, I think he likes correcting the balls from the wings, and then maybe he will try to maybe play a 1-2 with maybe if he has gone to the wing of maybe like number 7, he tries to make a double pass for him to go through Zite. He is a very good player, Zite, who I think at any time he can score, and you need to make sure you hold him. I'm sure most of the times, and you know these players sometimes they have some issues. You may not know, is he the real player we normally depend on, and you know, you would always think he's going to do what we know about him, Zite, because looking at his performance the past 3 to 4 games they've played, I think he has lost his form. He's not the one we've been talking about.
But he's working. He's working. He's getting into positions that is profiting the team, but there's nobody who can head like Chris MUGALU.
Trying to maybe play with him.
Yeah, of course. You know, I think the way that the Kabwe Warriors, the 2 central defenders, the way they were playing, it was like, you know, old-fashioned. Like, let's mark this guy. The one is picking, the one is the other one is covering. They didn't give him that room, the room that he always gets, because I didn't see him going the way he goes. Maybe one-on-one, it was not happening, or maybe it was just the problem with him at that particular day. I'm not sure, but I didn't see Chris receiving the ball in the box or making that run, receiving the ball behind the defense. It didn't happen. Even the aerial balls, the ones that he wins, heading for the running wide midfielder, it wasn't happening.
Okay, so fine. Let's deal with the question. Chris is getting into those positions because he's being starved of supply. That is number one.
Yeah.
So for him to make the team tick, he probably needs to shadow and hope that Tandemwape and Monga Chidimba follow him into the wide areas. But that is not creating space for Habasimbi to affect the game. It's not creating space for Obrifunga to affect the game, because again, the attacks are starting from a very deep position, and most of those touches are with his back to goal. It's the long punt forward, transitional boo-boo on the part of Warriors, and yes, they try to get MUGALU, who's being marked by 2 players at a minimum at any given time.
Yeah, no wonder it was so difficult for Lusaka DYNAMOS. I think you see MUGALU tries to go wide because Tandemwape and Monga, they were always on him. He tries to go wide, one will be with him or 2 at the most. Very difficult for him.
Yeah, he's a good player, and you know, sometimes Zite, like the way he was doing it, trying to find space, maybe creating your own space. You know, if you sometimes wait for the ball like the way he was waiting for it, and you could see those 2 gentlemen trying to make sure this guy should not move. And I'm sure even Chikwanda, he didn't sleep over the same player, because you give him a chance for sure that guy, he will mess up everything, whatever you've prepared, Zite. But like my colleague said, you know, he's a player who I think he is good, Zite. For him to move from that position, some of our players here in Zambia, you find that the 30 minutes or 90 minutes you'll be just standing on the same 2 defenders, and then if you try to maybe talk to him, you will say, Kaidi, Nabama Kababidi.
Yeah,
and then you are marked.
But hold on, but perhaps we are dealing with a system failure.
Yes.
Is that the the Lusaka Dynamos attack structure is just not working now.
It failed to work.
And seeing Chris in those wide areas, center circle at times, trying to pick up the ball and link up play and go forward is just something that is abnormal. And is this the part we just say, hold on, this thing is not working for all it's worth, in as much as it's good work, but we don't want to see Chris MUGALU in those wide areas trying to pick up play, because in the wide areas we want other players to be on the ball to give him a cross, and he should be central. So why aren't we dealing with that one first, Dennis?
Anyway, I will say this. You see, when Chris saw that he couldn't get the ball in the mid, he goes wide. Now he needed intelligent players to come and fill up the gap where he was coming from. He goes in the wings, someone else. Because the last time I watched, the time that they combined, there was the Foyo Tembo was playing second striker. There was the
Chris as the 9.
Chama, yeah, Chris as 9. Cletus on the left wing. Foyo was second striker, and there was another gentleman on the right. Chris is marked, he goes wide, Foyo takes the place, the other one is filling the gaps, but I didn't see it happening in the Kabwe Warriors game. Chris would go wide where Nsofwa is, but Nsofwa will still remain that side. No one else to come and fill up, or no one making that run to go where Chris is leaving the space.
But I'm just thinking, again, if you're beginning, if Warriors are making you have 9 bodies behind the ball, yeah, that explains where the wingers are, Aubrey and Thing. And maybe that's why they couldn't exchange positions. And they didn't necessarily play 4-3-3 this past weekend. They didn't play that one. They opted to go with 4 in midfield.
Yeah, maybe Zita is to try maybe the other way of maybe, you know, some of the players. If you look at the Lusaka Dynamos, Zita, from the time they started the league, they will be changing players. You know, you ask them, what about this player? You hear that, no, he was suspended. What about this one? No, discipline issues. Which maybe even the coaches, they know themselves that
okay,
we have this.
We'll talk about
but
that one.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was even on the system. The system itself, sometimes they change the system according to the players you have. You see, because if we talk of the same, their number 9, why is he not scoring now? Why is he always leaving the space where he's supposed maybe to get the goal, near the goal, and he gets wide to correct the balls? There are some players he knows that if I'm on this position, I know he can play to me, I can play back to him, maybe try to have space, and I'm near the goal. But for this game, if you saw different players he was playing with. The other game, if you look at the lineup, it's a different one. So it comes back. You ask ourselves that, do they understand each other?
Okay, I'm coming. Before they went to Nakonde, they played Zanaco. They beat Zanaco.
Yes.
Yeah, but
and it was principally the same lineup, principally the same type of tactics. So maybe we should be forgiving
same
people for thinking that they could have won.
I watched the Zanaco game. The way they played, Ochaya didn't go up, Peter Banda didn't go up. Why? Because Sofa is out wide, and Aubrey is also out wide. Not giving space for this guy to make an overlap to go and put that cross. Same thing against Warriors. Aubrey was wide and Sofa was wide. I think if you saw the time that Chama came in, Chama started coming inside and allowing Ochaya now to start going forward to go and make those crosses.
Okay, let's discuss their away team now. Kabwe Warriors. Let's talk about their defensive transitional shape in this game that saw them conquer by a 1-0. So, Kabwe Warriors, their defensive transitional shape is something that becomes of key significance as we try to dissect this. Okay, fine. So, when Lusaka Dynamos managed to get the ball into the final third, and this is principally with a long ball from Sydney Kalume or from the defense, where MUGALU can get the ball and bring in Emmanuel Hawasimbi and his teammates into play. Let's discuss what Warriors were trying to do and what they got away with in that game. So from getting Lusaka Dynamos to defend with 9 men on the ball, Warriors had the luxury of having number 10, Jacob Piri, Felin Seka, the number 3, number 14, Silion Jerry, adopting very high positions in transition. And right there, I'm just thinking, Sydney Kalume is an experienced campaigner. He's thinking, okay, if I leave Silion Jerry here and try to go and support the attack, immediately Kabwe Warriors win the ball, they'll put the ball into Silion Jerry, and it will be 2v2. And Silion Jerry, yes, he might attract Erika Bulungoy or Patience Ikamba, and it could be 1v1. But in essence, he doesn't go because he doesn't want to create a 3v2 situation. And that's the situation there. But meanwhile, Lusaka Dynamos are threatening Lawrence Mlenga's goal there, then the wide areas. But again, for the number 30, he's tracking him from up the pitch into the edge of the area. Patrick KASUNGA is picking up Marvin Jerry. So no cutback there. No chance to play between the lines. They are keeping a low block and not giving Lusaka Dynamos chance to probably sniff an opportunity, and probably should. But right there, look at the general attitude of the Lusaka Dynamos players. Once the ball gets into that position, again, the appetite to go to the penalty spot or just move the team, not there, gentlemen. Aubrey Funga, the number 77, is in a wide position. Ochaya is coming, but probably too late to affect that move that's in that advanced position, Dennis.
Yeah, too late. I think even Lusaka Dynamos, even when they got into the final third, the areas that they could put in those crosses, they were still late to go and join. I think it was in the first half, the first 10-15 minutes, they missed a chance. It was a cross, it just went. No one to finish. I think
so is it crossing for crossing? Because I'm thinking,
I think that
if you are crossing and you don't have targets in the 18, then why are you putting that ball into that area?
I'm sure that was a waste. That was just crossing for crossing, because he crossed the ball. I think the closest player who was there was Hawasimbi, almost scoring. But I remember as well the same diagram that we've just shown. It happened. Lusaka Dynamos lost the ball. I think Silon Jerry almost scored. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Jacob Piri making a cross. It was 3v1 in the box. 3 for Kabwe Warriors and 1 defender. It was 4v2 actually. The one was marking Jacob Piri and one who was marking the 2 strikers in the box for Kabwe Warriors, which was very dangerous for Lusaka Dynamos because of their wing midfielders, Funga and so forth. They were not dropping too much to go and help. I don't know. Maybe that was their game plan. Anyway,
I'm just thinking, Vespa. When you look at that one, first off, that's an anomaly. Like Kabwe Warriors are even controlling the game in transition. They allow Silion Jerry to pick up that high central position, and it's now affecting the configuration of where Sydney Kalume should be.
Yeah, Zite, the very good Kabwe Warriors in transition, especially if you look at the way they were coming out from defense. Experienced player Silon Jere, you could see the way he was trying to open up, giving space to his colleagues to play with their number 9, and he also tried to join in. I'm sure their game plan worked well, especially if you see the way it was moving in the midfield, enjoying it. I could see Silon enjoying the game. I know he's my player. I was with him for a long time, but I used to call him Fabregas because of his passes and the way he plays. He really enjoyed his play in the midfield, which gave, I think, Kalume a lot of work because he could go follow him. Sometimes he would want to, he plays the 1-2, which makes him tired again to go back and mark, because most of the times Kalume is all round in the midfield. But the way Warriors was positioning themselves, I'm sure they were moving as a team. You could see even when they lose the ball, they are there to try and harass, they mark it and get it easily.
Yeah, because I can't get over that. Sidney Kalume senses what is going on, but I don't know if his teammates around him realize what would happen. But who plays the Sidney Kalume role of providing attack? Especially if you are playing with two players in central midfield, Dennis.
Yeah, I think the problem was with the out midfielders. One of them was supposed to be coming in, since Sydney saw the danger that Ceylon was posing, and especially this P. Jacob P. Yeah, because he was giving them, where he was standing, he was giving them problems. Who's going to mark him? So Sydney was standing between Ceylon and Jacob P. So it was a 2v1 all the time, 2v1. Ochaya and Peter Banda, they were all going forward, not watching
not
their
realizing.
back. Yeah.
So probably there was the need to call the team to order. Let's have a look at the Kabwe Warriors attack. Now, Kabwe Warriors actually enjoyed good match control with consummate ease. And here is why, gentlemen. So, when Kabwe Warriors play out with consummate ease, because they're outnumbering Lusaka DYNAMOS in the central areas. As you can see in the central areas of the pitch, there's a recovery issue with so far the number 20 and the number 77 Obrifunga. If you look at where the ball is and where Kabwe Warriors have got it. But right there you've got one standing in front of the other, Jerry number 31. Of course, he was doing a run around with the number 30 in the black circle there. That's KASUNGA. But now, when Warriors get the ball, it's time for him to mark and begin to mark, and he needs to mark well. Jacob Piri gets the ball in the wide area. Sidney Kalume is supposed to be picking him up. Well, even Paul Banda as well. But right there, he's got space to maneuver and imagine whatever he wants to do. But let us take you to the right-hand side of the pitch. The purple circle where the number 12 is, Jonathan Manyongo there. He is playing right wing, but he is playing as an inverted right winger. So he comes inside, and when he comes inside, Kabwe Warriors already have Lame Kafwaya and Silion Jere there. So plus Manyongo, it becomes 3. Plus the fullback, Zulu, who's making that run forward. That becomes 4. Versus only 2 in central midfield. And as we earlier alluded to, those wingers, number 20 and number 77, are not coming back into those central areas to, one, create parity or a numerical advantage for the team that's defending. And for the back line, the central defenders are thinking, okay, if we move and try to bundle that tactical overload there, there'll be space for Nseka to probably receive a pass from Jacob Piri and the like. But whatever it came to, that was very clever on the part of Kabwe Warriors, and that gave them that 1-0 win, and they actually won. Because right there, you also want to look at the defensive responsibility. Who picks up the number 12 when he runs into the central area? Because if it's the right wing, ideal logic would tell you it's Ochaya who picks him up. If Ochaya follows, Zulu, the number 2, is ready to go up and occupy that space.
Yeah, they were double teaming on Ochaya, and he had problems because his winger was not coming back to come and help. And the number 12 did well. He was going inside, leaving space for Levi Zulu. And what Warriors were doing was to delay the ball. They were playing short passes on the other side of the pitch, waiting for Levi Zulu to make that run, and it really worked. I'm sure that's why they even got the goal.
Yeah, and it must be said, it must have been through a penalty. But yes, Lusaka Dynamos were outwitted, ladies and gentlemen. Outwitted.
Yeah, Kabwe Warriors, they say Warianganga. That was a good game for Kabwe Warriors. You could see that these guys, they are fighting for something, maybe not only remaining in the Premier League, but at least to show that they are a good team. If you saw the way they came into attack Zite, most of the times you find Silon Jere near the goal there. He's a player who always wants to get a goal, and he will behave most of the times like he's in the midfield because they are number 7. When they lose the ball, they always come in the mid, maybe to make that 4, at least that line to close it. And if they win the ball, you could see the way they move out. Silon will try to come down, maybe try to get it from the center circle somewhere there. And their number 7 will sometimes try to pretend like he's playing in number 10 role, whereby when they try to interchange there, Silon will find him sometimes in the wing, maybe like he's pretending to be number 7, or at times you find him in the wing like he's number 11 Zite. And when you see these guys attacking, and they attack as a team, I think they listen sometimes to the shouting. Happy Chikolo, sometimes I hear him on the bench, come on. But they played according to instructions, which at least gave them a win.
They did well. Probably, let's now discuss the overall impact of the defensive midfielder for Kabwe Warriors. That's Patrick Kasunga. Let's just have a look at his touch map and what he was able to conjure up in this game as we discuss his effect on this game. Now, look at his touch map in his own half, where most of the interceptions he's making are inclined to the right-hand side, because invariably Lusaka Dynamos are trying to construct most of the attacks by getting Ochaya involved, and that's where most of the breakdowns are taking place. And even then, because Warriors are playing intricate passing football to get to the final third, when in transition, when they win the ball back, they are hoofing it forward, usually in that right-hand side pocket of central midfield. And right there, Kasunga is picking them up with consummate ease and beginning and restarting the Warriors' attacks once more. And once Kabwe Warriors attacks, once Kabwe Warriors attacks in the opposition half, once there's a turnover of possession, because Lusaka Dynamos had a challenge in converting the transition defense into attack, Kasunga is there again in their half, collecting the ball, controlling play. But wait, he's able to do this because Marvin Jere, unlike him, he's unable to track him when Warriors are in possession of the ball. And secondly, Emmanuel Habasimbi is not picking him up because Emmanuel Habasimbi is waiting in a position in transition where he can get the ball and turn it into attack. So that leaves Kasunga free to affect the game in the way he did.
Yeah, I think I tell you that Mr. Chikwanda is a very good tactician. He studies the game before you play your next opponent. You'll be looking for information. How do they play? He knows Lusaka Dynamos, their attacking position is way on the left, where Ochaya comes, and where Aubrey Funga is, if it's Funga or if it's Cletus Chama, the one who's playing that side. So what he did was to deploy Animal there, go there and disturb, and he did very, very well because he won most of the balls which were coming that side, and he started initiating the attack, which was very good for Kabwe Warriors. And I think Habasimbi, they didn't do much in picking Animal. They gave him too much room to start the build-up from the midfield to attack. But
Vespa, let's be fair to Habasimbi. He's a kind of number 10 whose strength is not marking. So you wanted him to mark.
Yeah, well, I think you remember the
Are you being fair to him?
The last chat we had last week, we talked about Sate. Those are the attributes that we were talking about of number 10. Some games you need the number 10 who can come and mark, because if you saw Animals, the playmaker, he gets the ball here, takes it this side, you know, he was initiating the build-up from getting the balls from the defense, taking it to Siron Jere, who was the link between the midfield and the attack. This game, we needed, Lusaka Dynamos needed someone who could, a number 10 who can mark. Because what Patrick was doing, I like calling him Animal because
that's his nickname.
Yeah, I'm used to that one. What Animal was doing was destroying Lusaka Dynamos, because Abasimbi, he was supposed to, he comes down, pick up Animal, at least just disturb him. But he was always free. He had that chance to make passes, free passes and precise ones.
Vespa, I asked the question. So you needed Emmanuel Hawasimbi to mark the Animal?
For that day, Zite, Animal was it was difficult for Hawasimbi to drop and start following Animal, especially when they had the Silon also who was trying to back up. When he goes forward, Silon will always try to follow him behind. That's why you find the Habasimbi was all over. You find they play him a double pass, and the Patrick had all to talk about in the midfield.
Okay, let's have a look at Lusaka Dynamos in transition attack. Because after all is said and done, yes, Warriors won, but both teams had challenges. Now, in transition, this was the point I was trying to bring out, is that Lusaka Dynamos probably needed a lot of tact to actually get out of their defensive half and construct meaningful attacks. And here's why. Once Kabwe Warriors apply the high press to a back four that is standing flat, and the wingers have gotten down because they are playing short passes. It's a delayed, gradual attack. They get about 8 players behind the ball. Hawasimbi is in that position. But you also want to appreciate the work rate of Lamek Kafwaya, who was also a very difficult player to track in this game because he was coming from deep. So Kafwaya, Manyongo, Silon, Jere, and the 2 wingers had problems in terms of had a good day at the office, actually, putting Lusaka Dynamos under pressure. But again, look at the spearhead of that attack on the part of Lusaka Dynamos. MUGALU versus 2 central defenders. KASUNGA is also on standby just in case. He'll sniff that ball out before it gets to him. And you've got the number 2, Tandi Mwape, who's also on standby.
Yeah, I think this is where Warriors did very well. They knew the threat that MUGALU poses. All the time they had security at the back. If Levizul is gone, Patrick was always there to
covering for him.
Yeah, very, very good. I think Kabwe Warriors were just marvelous on this day.
Yeah, probably good value for remaining in the Super League. But for Lusaka Dynamos, they did manage to get into the final third, and they did manage to conjure up some good numbers in terms of their attacking variables. Let's just have a look at the cross map, because that was their game plan that they tried to play the game in the wide areas and probably try to goals there. But look at the activity areas. Is that, yes, they'll get there, but again, Kabwe Warriors were overwhelming them. Lusaka Dynamos were failing to pick the man when the cross, and yeah, or getting targets into the areas they want them to be. But Vespa, that is the touch map. But some of those crosses that into the box, especially near the center circle, were coming from a central defender. And Paul Banda, Emily Kamba accounted for 3 of those, and Paul Banda 2 of those in that game. Must have been very, difficult. But for Paul Banda, you need to give him credit. He gets 2 on the edge of the area as well. But again, where is the target? Where is the target?
Yeah, you could you can see even the way it is showing. Lusaka DYNAMOS had a lot of chances of even winning this game. Sometimes you find you ask yourselves that what is happening, because if you look at the crosses which were coming, I think those were goals. If we for sure we had someone to wait to say this, we have to score. Look at the crosses. They had almost 11 crosses, but of course they didn't get a goal out of it. And for Kabwe Warriors also, you do sometimes you get worried, because if you allow them getting crosses like that, sometimes you may end up losing the game, because it comes again to maybe loose marking. Sometimes it kills you, because if they were their strikers were serious with the crosses which were coming, I think that game could have ended. We could have been talking about something else.
But Chris is coming deep.
But
Chris is coming deep. So who do you want to be meeting those crosses?
This is where the problem was. Chris MUGALU goes wide. The ball is that side. Someone makes a cross. No one. I remember. I think I saw Manchi called the was it Aubrey or so forth. He called and he told him, Chris ngafumapo ngabareka cross huku nobo fudo kwa chita ball. But it was not happening, because even the Soccer DYNAMOS coaches noticed that whenever Chris was out of that position, because he was always marked, he was trying to run away from his markers, but no one else was taking his position to come and meet that ball. And the crossers again, how can you cross this? You even see there's no one there, because I think I saw about 5 or
so how did you want them to
crosses.
do?
You delay. Go back to something.
Like you are crossing Zite. You may also try to dribble.
You dummy or you dribble, go in the box. So make a dummy, pass it back, midfield, switch play. Take it the other side whilst you are waiting for Chris to come back into position.
Okay, talking about that, in this game, we also want to take stock of what the goalkeepers did for both teams. That's MONGA NDALA for Lusaka DYNAMOS and Lawrence MULENGA. Let's just have a look at the stats they were able to pick. Now, long passes for MONGA NDALA, he only managed to land 1 and he made 8 off, meaning Kabwe Warriors won those balls. If you look at Lawrence, on the other hand, Lawrence made 6 long passes and 5 landed on their target. Only 1 didn't land on their target. Short passes, yes, Mr. MONGA NDALA got 4 out of 4. And for Lawrence MULENGA, he got 1/1. Saves, MONGA NDALA 1 save compared to 2 for Lawrence MULENGA. Shots first, equal number, 7 out of 7. Now I'm just thinking, when a game is that tight, the passing skills of the goalkeeper become very important. But look at that statistic there for MONGA NDALA. 8 times he failed to find the target. I mean, that success rate is not good, Vespa.
Yeah.
It's not good. The striker, probably even Chris MUGALU, needs to know that when MONGA gets the ball, he will get me. He will give me a good ball that I'll be able to get. But if Warriors are winning 90% of the long passes, what happens?
Of course, the goalkeeper is the commander of the game. And you know, if the mistake is coming from someone who is commanding the game, he gets the ball, he gives it to the opponents so that they should attack him. Then he wants to lose the game. Ziti, for sure, you have to get the ball.
But I'm just thinking, perhaps this is the pink elephant in our league that we don't talk about much. The passing abilities of our goalkeepers. And now this one is a top 5 goalkeeper, MONGA NDALA.
Yeah, MONGA, I think I watched the Zanaco game. It was the same. His long passes, always landing on opponents. You see, Lusaka DYNAMOS, they always play with the one striker. MUGALU will be alone. So they win the ball, the goalkeeper wins the ball. They want to make a quick attack, a quick break, from starting with the goalkeeper. But for MONGA, it doesn't happen. I remember watching the other goalkeeper, is it Montari or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good in long balls. All the balls you see, they will go to Chris. Whoever Chris is making a run, the ball will go there. But for
But
MONGA,
how important is this in our league?
very, very important. I think I can give you an example.
Is the passing ability, because a couple of years ago, Dennis and Vespa, I remind you, is that Heverena was refusing to retire Kalidilo Kakonja, and his defense was that, yes, the players that you want me to replace Kalidilo Kakonja with have got terrible footwork.
Yeah, you see, it's a goalkeeper. That's where you start attack from.
Yeah,
a goalkeeper can make one long pass, second pass striker, you score.
We have an attacking goalkeeper and we have a defensive keeper. So you also look at these two goalkeepers, the way they behaved. Are they defensive goalkeepers or are they attacking goalkeepers? Because if you look at Lawrence, all his attacking, they went direct to the positions where he wanted the balls to go. But if you look at the other side, there were a lot of mistakes. I'm sure keepers also should try to see that if I start this ball, is it going to benefit us that we will get a goal, or maybe we'll try to protect ourselves?
All right, so we'll get to talk about that and more, and perhaps after the break we also want to hear your thoughts on 25669. This is Soccerchat, Zambia's premier analysis show on QTV. Experience Home.